Let me try to get it here. I'm going to read exactly the tweets that Victor Conte said since we've been talking about him right now for the last few minutes. Victor Conte said this in a tweet, and I'm reading this verbatim. I want y'all to see that I'm not making this up. These are the words of Victor Conte. He says, IMO, which stands for in my opinion, the most rational talk about an Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford fight is below. I don't believe either boxer is on PEDs. My criticism has been at Manny Pacquiao and opponents using NSAC, which is Nevada State Athletic Commission's testing panels instead of full VADA testing 4 of his last 3 Nevada fights. And then he says, on May the 15th, hi, Errol Spence Jr., please check your DM and respond to the VADA 24/7 365 sponsorship offer made of 100% of the annual fee. Terrence Crawford has agreed to accept and participate if you are also willing. Please let me know. Either way, much respect, both of you. Thank you in advance. And then 4 hours ago, today, Victor Conte says in all capitalized letters, nonsense. Nonsense is being spewed. I respect Errol Spence Jr. He posted about the need for 24/7 365 testing in boxing, including a hair test. I responded with VADA testing 24/7 365 info. Arrow responded by DM. I explained by DM. I have offered to sponsor him. And Terrence Crawford. The offer stands. YSM, you heard me read everything about Victor Conte's tweets. There's 3 consecutive tweets in a row. What's your take on all this stuff, man?
I feel like Terrence Crawford fans severely jumped the gun. They assumed that this was a holdup for the fight when it had no bearing. He's trying to insert himself in it. Whatever terms they come to is what they come to. I don't know why everybody's like making an excuse for this fight not to happen. Like this shit is getting weird.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Though. I do have a question, YSM, and this is for everybody on the panel. We'll do a round robin at once, so nobody, we all have respect for each other's views and not step over each other and mess the audio up. Victor Conte said in that tweet that I just read, he said, I heard Errol Spence talk about VADA testing, clean boxing, 24/7, 365. My question is, why aren't you DMing him now? In other words, if Errol Spence said that, let's say 3 years ago, why didn't Victor Conte DM him 3 years ago? Not saying he didn't. Let's say he did, but he didn't make it public. Why make it public now? Why DM Spence now? Why didn't you DM him 3 years ago when he said it? Why didn't you DM him 5 years ago when he's talked about clean boxing? Why are you DMing him right now? Why you want to sponsor him right now? I have an answer for that. It's because he is being representatives of Terrence Crawford. I'm not saying Crawford sent them to say that. I am not implying that. I want y'all to put it in perspective. Terrence Crawford is a participant of the snack program with Victor Conte. Victor Conte is DMing Spence, who's supposed to be in negotiations with Crawford to fight each other. He's DMing him about VADA testing and to sponsor him. That's what so my point is, why now? Why DM him now? Why DM him now? Because he's fighting the guy you represent through your program? Why? What is that about? What are y'all implying? Number two, question number two. Why you DMing fighters when we know VADA testing costs between 20 and 30,000 from what I've been told?
Yes.
We huh?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so 20 to $30,000 for these tests to be administered by VADA. We know that Errol Spence has good representation. So, Conti, why didn't you reach out to the representative of Spence who can cut the check and they do business with VADA? This is what they do. Why now? What are y'all implying? What is this about? I need answers on that.
Hey,
Anybody's
that's right.
panel?
Hey,
Anybody got a take on
hey,
that?
hey, it's only right I go first because look, I'm the one who really bust this wide open on your show. I'm the
Speak on it,
first
bro.
one to talk about it. Hey,
Speak on it.
hey, that's what I just wanted to give you some content to talk about. That's why I brought it up. Number one. Number two, when I heard it, I knew it was some bullshit if they was trying to imply. I'm sorry. It was some bull
It's cool.
crap if they
It's
were trying
cool,
to
bro.
imply that Spence don't want to do the clean testing because he's been doing that throughout his whole career. Especially since he's had the WBC belt. It's mandatory.
Yes, it is.
So I knew it was bull crap on that end, but what I was paying attention is to the part where they said Bud already agreed, and I was like, well, if Bud already agreed, maybe the fight is signed or close. I don't know. That's why I even thought about it. But for real, when it comes to that, man, like I said, Earl has always been in the clean testing, organization his whole career. So I know he ain't worried about that, and that ain't stopping nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Salute to Marty Yoel. Thank you, Marty. Haven't seen you in a while. Not because you wasn't on YouTube, because I wasn't. So good to see you again, Marty. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. So Terrence Best Videos. My question to you now as a Crawford fan, when you heard the words Crawford already agreed, that meant that Conte must have had some sort of dialogue with Crawford if he's saying that Crawford agreed to it. What's your take on Conte even getting involved in this, reaching out to Spence in the first place on behalf of Crawford?
Well, I I heard about this well before now. Like that that Conti said that if Bud fights Errol, they're going to be in VADA. He said that a long time ago. That's no secret. He wasn't going to be. He wasn't taking the fight unless it was for VADA testing.
Who
Bud's
wasn't taking the
already
fight?
Bud.
Where they
Bud's
hear
not
that? I never heard
Conti.
that before.
Yeah, Conte said that a while ago. That in order for that fight to take place, that it
Okay.
has to be full VADA testing. So there's no secret that he said that before. To me, I don't. That's why I don't see any problems with it. I'm just
Wait, do you
okay.
understand the difference? Do you understand the difference in testing for this fight and what Conte's asking for?
Tell me the difference. I thought it just meant that they would have full VADA testing. That's all.
No,
If
he said three. He said 365. That means testing for the duration of his career. That's what he's asking for.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Well, I guess yeah, that wouldn't matter for Bud. For Bud, this fight, he just wants to make sure he's clean for this fight. That's the only thing I think Bud cares about. So
Why
that
would
wouldn't.
Bud care about that? In
Well,
your opinion, why
but
would Bud care about Errol Spence being clean for this fight?
right
What do you? Why? What ain't clear? What do you mean?
when
Why was Floyd worried about it with Pacquiao? Of
No, no,
course
no.
he
I'm not.
did.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not asking about Floyd and Pacquiao because we know
right
Pacquiao is still questionable in my opinion. I pointed that out several times on this channel. I'm really specifically talking about Crawford. Why would Crawford be concerned about Spence and VADA testing and all this stuff? Why would he be adamant about that for Spence?
Why wouldn't he? He wants to make sure
but
it's a fair fight. I'm
but Spence
confused.
been on it. Spence been on it just his whole career. So what make him question that?
I'm confused. So he's supposed to not. make sure the
What
fight's
make
fair.
what did Spence ever? I don't get it. 'Cause Spence on it.
And so
What would make
if he's
he
been
on
doing
it?
it, bro, then he's gonna continue to do it. Why wouldn't he do it now? I'm confused. Why is this an
Yo,
issue?
I
They
don't.
they
I,
should do full body testing and that's it. So are y'all arguing that they shouldn't do it? Is
Oh,
anybody
we
arguing?
said you. Oh my God.
yo,
Mm-hmm.
let me say this, right?
But
I feel like y'all trying to lump arguments together when they're not. They like
right.
they're he's asking for he's saying 365 days, right? Terrence Crawford has agreed to 365 days, right? So Terrence Crawford is going to be getting year-round testing, is what he's saying, right? Errol
Right.
Spence is already a WBC champion who was subjected to year-round testing because of the clean boxing program. Okay,
Right.
Right.
so it has no bearing on this fight. If you think that this is the first time that drug testing has been mentioned in this fight when they've been negotiating for months, you're crazy.
Man, look,
So
EJ,
you think that the last thing that's holding this fight up is them just popping up out of nowhere about drug testing? No, that's been discussed. Like, so him interjecting, he's not at the table. So if this was something that Crawford had been worried about or wanted to make happen, it would have been discussed behind closed doors and not Victor Conte bringing it up via DM. That's how niggas holler at bitches. That's not how business is done.
Victor Conte just trying to make himself part of something.
I'm
Dude.
sorry for cussing, Marty.
No, it's the N word. It's the N word. It's the N word.
Look. He just trying to make himself part of something, dude. Those guys, I've heard EJ and what's the other guy that fight with Derrick James down at Charlo? I've heard both of them complain about the testers popping up on the plane when they out of town making them guys take tests.
Right.
You're like, man, I'm at my grandma's house in Louisiana, knock on the door, it's VADA.
Yeah.
You know
That's what they
saying?
do. That's what they do.
They testing year round already, yo.
I got story for y'all real fast.
Okay.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Jesse Hart, right? Jesse Hart has switched from Fred Jenkins' gym. He'd been training with Mr. Mosey, but he hadn't informed VADA. So VADA pulled up to Fred Jenkins' gym to do the testing, but he was at he was at Mr. Mosey's. So they put out a statement saying that he was suspended all because he had changed gyms. Story number 2. They had tried to pop up on Cool Boy. Cool Boy lives in 2 different locations, two different states. So they popped up in Philly. He wasn't there. Then they called him. He was like, "No, I'm at my other spot." It's like, "Stay there. We got somebody in that state too."
Yeah.
Just stay right there. Don't leave the house.